Hi class, I want to talk to you a little bit about your interview. As you know, it's coming up and I want to show you a little bit on the OWL Purdue what they have for good interviewing and some other things that you can see. So first thing you want to do is look at the different types of interview there are. As I always say, face-to-face is best, but if you can't get face-to-face, you can use a phone interview or perhaps an email interview. You just want to try to get as much information as you can. Also, obviously, FaceTime and Skype work really well. So for setting up the interview, you want to, of course, be courteous and professional. You always want to explain to the person who you are, what you want to talk about, what you're working on. And I tell students, cast a wide net. Try to ask a lot of people that you want to interview because you're not really sure how many are going to kind of come through. So when you actually go for the interview, some things that you want to check out. So the first thing are the types of questions. So creating a good survey interview is going to bring us here. When you create your questions, you want to avoid biased questions. So we want our participants to really respond openly, and so we don't want to kind of make them lead them into an answer that we think they should say. So don't say something like, "Don't you agree campus parking is a problem?" Because by that question, clearly you think it's a problem, but what if I disagree? It makes it a bit uncomfortable. So instead you want to ask, like, is parking a problem on campus, or have you seen parking being a problem on campus? Don't ask questions that assume what they ask. So don't say things like, there are many people who believe that campus parking is a problem. Are you one of them? It can sound very kind of accusatory and assuming exactly who they are or what they think. So we want to say like, hey, do you agree or disagree? Like, what are your thoughts on this? We also want to be aware of double barrel questions. It's one that has more than one question embedded in it, so it's sometimes confusing, or they might agree with one part but not the other part. So instead of asking, do you agree that campus parking is a problem and that the administration should be working diligently? They might agree it's a problem, but they might not think the administration is working diligently. So you want to kind of separate those two things. And then, of course, we want to make sure we're being really clear with our questions. We don't want confusing or wordy questions. We want to make sure we're clarifying what we know. I always encourage students to, use your inquiry question. Ask them what they think about it and what their conclusions would be, or maybe things that they've read about it or things that they've seen. Also, you may get off topic sometimes with the interviewee. Try your best to stay on topic, but make sure we're not just asking unrelated questions. So once you kind of have your questions created, you want to prepare for the interview. When you prepare, you want to make sure, of course, that you are on time, that you know the location, and then some of the things that I'm going to go through here. One, be open to a little small talk. When you get to know a person and sit down, you might want to kind of like break the ice a little bit to get comfortable and make sure that they are comfortable as well. I tell students to bring maybe recording equipment like your phone where you can record the interview so you can hear what they say. Of course, as always, don't record someone without their permission. Ask if it's okay, and typically they will say yes. You can also film record it, which I think is exceptionally helpful to kind of see people's body communication on the topic. Again, just make sure you ask for permission and you delete that after you are done using it for your research purposes. Pay attention to what's being said and also kind of the person's physical reactions or voice reactions if you're talking through the phone. Be open to follow-up questions. That's really helpful. Make sure that you always have like a pen and paper. I tell students really try to get a pen and paper or something that you can write down, because sometimes having a screen kind of cuts off people's conversations. So you don't want to have anything kind of barring that. Make sure that you know about the person beforehand. If they've written something, you want to like check that out because you want to show them that you have also done your research. And then don't push the person you're interviewing. I've had students do this before where they've interviewed someone and the person wasn't very open. We have to really be respectful to people's boundaries and what they want to share and what they don't. And then don't always stick right to your questions. You of course have them there and you are prepared, but you want to be open to where the interview takes you. My friend who interviews people and is a journalist says after every interview, he always asks, is there anything I didn't ask that you'd like to share? Or is there anything you'd like to add? He says that it's like a gold mine and he gets more from that one question than any of his other questions. So that might be something you want to add. And I think the hardest part sometimes with people who like to chat is make sure you keep your interview person on topic. Make sure your follow-up questions kind of redirect and you're focused on what you need to get out. So hopefully that is helpful for you. I will, of course, link this with here so that you can go back and see all of the things that I've talked to you about. But remember, your interview is important. It's a great way to get a more personalized version of the research that you're studying. Good luck.